Imagine a day that imprints itself so deeply in your memory that it becomes a part of who you are. A day that's etched in the canvas of your mind, a day that changes you forever. That day for me was when I got the call about my friend's illness. A dear friend, more like a brother to me, had fallen ill, and I was summoned to be by his side. Fear, like a cold hand, gripped my heart. The thought of losing him was unbearable, a reality too harsh to confront. I made my way to his home, my mind swirling with thoughts as heavy as lead. The house seemed to echo my dread, a once jovial dwelling now draped in an eerie silence. I ventured into his room, a dimly lit sanctuary that felt more like a crypt than a place of rest. The room was pregnant with an atmosphere of unease, the air thick with anticipation and fear. It felt like entering a room full of static. Every hair on my body stood on end, a sensation that was both chilling and oddly electrifying. As I sat by his bedside, a sense of foreboding washed over me. The room was dimly lit, the shadows on the wall seeming to move and twist in a dance of despair. Strange noises filled the air, knocks and whispers that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. His brothers were there too, their faces mirroring the fear that knotted my stomach, but their presence did little to alleviate the growing dread that filled the room. The hours stretched into an eternity as I sat there, my heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. The fear that had been merely a whisper in my ear was now a deafening roar. It was as if the room itself was coming alive, the shadows whispering, the walls knocking, the fear in my heart beginning to take a tangible form. As I sat there, I felt the room coming alive with shadows, whispering and knocking, the fear in my heart beginning to take a tangible form. As the hours ticked by, the room seemed to grow colder, the noises louder. A chill began creeping into the room, the shadows on the walls becoming more menacing. The whispers and knocks that had been mere background noise were now a cacophony, echoing from seemingly nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. There was a palpable sense of fear in the room, shared among my friend's brothers and myself. As the day wore on, this sense of dread only intensified. Each passing minute seemed to bring a new, more disturbing sound. The shadows appeared to twist and writhe with a life of their own. The air felt heavy, as though burdened with an unseen presence. It was a presence that felt cold, like the chill of winter seeping into your bones, and it felt as if it was watching us. Then, out of nowhere, I felt a hand on my head. It was small and cold, like that of a child, yet it was undeniably there. This touch seemed to freeze me in place, my voice trapped in my throat, my body immobilized by fear. I wanted to call out, to ask for help, but the words wouldn't come. My friend's brothers looked as terrified as I felt, their faces pale, their eyes wide with fear. This cold, small hand continued to press down on my head, its touch growing heavier with each passing moment. It was as if it was trying to convey a message, a cryptic communication that I couldn't decipher. The room was in chaos, but I was stuck in a state of paralyzing fear, unable to move or speak. As the day wore on, this cold hand never left my head. Even with my eyes shut, I could still feel its icy touch. An unseen entity was trying to communicate with me, its message lost in the chaos of the room. I was in a state of frozen terror, the cold hand never leaving my head, an unknown entity trying to communicate its cryptic message. This chilling presence, this cold hand, this day of terror would remain etched in my memory, a stark reminder of the power of fear and the fragility of life. Then, as abruptly as it had appeared, the cold hand vanished. The room, once filled with an eerie chill, felt suddenly vacant, as though a presence had been lifted. My head, previously weighed down by the strange sensation, felt light and empty, yet the room was anything but quiet. The silence was filled with a deafening sorrow. My friend, my brother in all but blood, had departed from this world. The realization hit me like a freight train, the weight of his absence pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. His brothers and I sat in stunned silence, each lost in our own worlds of grief and disbelief. The guilt gnawed at my insides like a relentless beast. I had been paralyzed by fear, too consumed by the inexplicable happenings to be there for my friend in his final moments. I had allowed my terror to eclipse my duty as a friend, as a brother. It was a regret I would carry with me, a heavy burden that would never lighten. In my confusion, I tried to make sense of what had happened. The hand, the cold, the fear, they all felt so real, so tangible. Yet they disappeared as quickly as they had come, leaving me questioning my sanity. I was left in a state of shock. My mind a whirlpool of thoughts and emotions I could not decipher. My friend was gone, and I was left alone with my guilt and an experience that defied explanation. I was left grappling with the reality of his absence and the phantom sensations that lingered. I was left with a haunting memory that would forever be a part of me, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the power of fear. And so, as the sun set on that unforgettable day, I was left in the aftermath of a life-changing event. The world as I knew it had shifted, and I was left to navigate this new reality, a reality without my friend, a reality filled with unanswered questions and lingering fears. My friend was gone, and I was left alone with my guilt and an experience that defied explanation. Looking back, I see that day with a different lens. I've come to understand that the cold, small hand I felt was not a spectral presence, but a physical manifestation of my own fear and anxiety. In the face of loss and uncertainty, our minds can create the most intricate illusions. That day left an indelible mark on me, like a scar on my psyche. It was a cruel lesson in the power of fear and the delicate nature of life. It taught me that fear can be a formidable foe, capable of warping reality, creating visions that seem all too real. But it also showed me the fragility of life, how it can be snuffed out in a moment, leaving a void that can never be filled. These lessons, harsh as they were, have shaped me into who I am today. That day remains a haunting reminder of the power fear holds over us and the fragile thread that holds life together.